Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk to you about the 3D pipeline. Now every studio has its own pipeline and most users have their own preferences of how they structure their folder. But this is what I found to be a very clean and organized way to keep track of your animated short. This is kind of designed for a one-man project or maybe a few people. It's not designed for like a studio pipeline. A lot of studios have their own software or plugins they use for their pipeline, like Open Pipeline, or sometimes they write their own software. So this structure that I'm going to cover today is good for when you want to make your own film. This is good for people who never made an animated short because it'll help them stay clear of some common issues that come up when you don't have your project structured right. So let's start. Well, the first thing you do, you start with your storyboard. We already covered that in previous videos, and that could be like in a separate storyboard folder. You should have a research folder. I have one right here. Where is it? Over there. For when this is where you put all your concept art, your research images that you find online that you want to use as some kind of reference to your textures or your characters. Any kind of research you do prior to the actual making. I didn't do a lot of research. I only have a cube and a ball for my characters. But for most people, a lot of research is recommended. When you go to 3D, this is where the pipeline is really starts to be important. We start with a model. In your 3D folder, you will have a models folder where you keep all your models, the environment, the cube, the ball. So let's open one of them. It's already opened. This is just your regular 3D mesh with no rigging on it, just your basic model. Then when you start to rig your models, you reference that in a new scene and save it in a rigging folder. So this is the models folder. The next one is the rigging folder. You create a folder separate for each of the characters again. Let's open the cube rig. So that scene is me referencing the model and building the rig on top of it. So as you can see, it's not a very complicated rig, but it works. Can't even blink. Once you finish rigging, you move into animating your shots. That would be done in a shots folder. There you go. In the shots folder, you'll have one folder for animation, one folder for lighting. Because after you finish your animation, you're going to actually reference the entire animation scene into a lighting scene. So when you first start your animation scene, you reference your rigs. So as you can see, I have my scene here, and I have my cube referenced to that scene, and my environment model also referenced. So I don't have any actual object in that scene, it's all being referenced. So we have a model being referenced into a rig, and then that rig being referenced into an animation scene. And then when we start lighting, which I haven't started yet, I'm going to take this entire file, this animation project, and reference it into a new one and save it in the lighting folder over here, which is empty right now. And then from your lighting projects, you just do the render. You start rendering. So that's on the 3D side of things. Editing wise, I always start with an animatic. Then on top of the animatic, I would start building my previs, then slowly replacing the previs with the finished animation, and then eventually the render files. So you see, this is my animatic. I've covered how to make an animatic in another video. You can check it out later. So you have all your shots, you have your timing, your frames, and then when you get into the previs stage, which is where I am right now, you start replacing those shots with your previs shots, as you can see I've done over here. So this is a previs shot. You see the animation is blocked, it's not final at all, but it gives you the feeling. Once you replaced all of these shots with your playblast from Maya, you start animating each one of those shots completely, and then you replace it again, and then you're going to have a final animated previs. After that, you're going to start lighting, and rendering. And then you're going to replace those shots again, the previous shots, with the lighting shots. I like to change the name of the files too. Right now, before the file used to be called animatic 1001, but then when I started replacing and building my previs, I changed it to previs, and then later on I would call it edit, which is the final edit. So that's kind of my pipeline that I work with. I would also have under edit, under the folder that contains all my animatic, previs, whatever, I would also have a sounds folder, which I can divide into like sound effects, dialogue, maybe music if you have some. I'm going to include in the website a demo folder that I created with all this structure laid out in a very clean and easy way to read. So you can actually download a demo folder that I'm going to upload to the site and use it as reference for your project. As usual, if you have any questions, comments, you're welcome to write it down in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe and check out our website at bloopanimation.com.